All right, folks, welcome back in. The Rams just got more likely, we'll just say, to securing the number one seed. We're going to get into it. Before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to check out today's sponsor, Sleeper. Be sure to check out the link is in the description. Use my code JKB. You'll get a 100% bonus match up to $100 using that code. And also be sure to use that $20 free entry, no deposit needed. So definitely, if you haven't already, it's a free entry. Use it. Also, if you're looking for a place to house your next fantasy football league, your fantasy basketball, highly recommend Sleeper as well. So again, promo code is JKB. And there we go. Man, what a win for the Chicago Bears. That's a huge win on, Black Friday. This is the worst I've ever done. I don't think I've ever started off a week losing the first 4 games. I picked every game wrong to this point. You're probably wondering why I'm even bringing that up. I was told I don't bring up when I'm wrong. So there I am bringing up when I'm wrong, which also is a lie because I like making fun of myself when I have bad takes. But the Bears come through with a huge win. They're 9-3 on the year. The Eagles fall to 8-4, and now the Rams have a really, really good shot at securing the number one seed. They have a 64% chance according to Next Gen Stats, which is awesome. And they also made a move today I'm going to talk about because I know people want to talk about it. Josh Carty was waived. Now, the plan is they want to sign him back to the practice squad if he clears waivers. And honestly, the timing of them doing this is strategic. I think they're going to be able to keep him. The reason why the Rams decided to waive him on a Friday is because tomorrow is Saturday. It's the last day of the week where you can claim guys for waivers. But it complicates things for a team that's already gone in, had their game plan, their walkthrough. Makes all the sense in the world why the Rams would do it because they don't have to worry about that. They just put him on the practice squad. But if you claim him, you have to put him on your 53-man roster. And putting another kicker on your 53-man roster a day before game day, it just doesn't seem likely. So I think this is strategic. And I understand why they did it. It's a bummer for Josh Carty, but I think this is a good move because, you clearly trust this guy more than Carty. You trust Mevis more than Carty right now. You can't keep 2 kickers. This is a Super Bowl team. This is the consensus favorite in the NFL. You can't keep 2 kickers because you might not think it's that big of a deal, but just wait. When you keep 2 kickers, that 53-man roster starts to feel like it's suffocating. So it's not an easy thing to do. So anyway, I personally don't think Josh Carty was the issue. I think the long snapping was the issue. I think they fixed the long snapping but never let Carty actually kick. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I hope he is brought back because I'm not out on Josh Carty. Anyway, that said, people like to ask, why would we want the 1 seed? The Rams won the Super Bowl as the 4 seed in 2021. Why the 1 seed? So I have some news for you guys. I have a lot of details that I looked up and did my research on. And, I think first and foremost, the NFC number 1 seed hasn't won the Super Bowl since the Eagles in 2017. That sounds like a lot, right? But it also sounds like they're due, right? Number 1 seeds have a playoff record of 14-10 since 2020, which of course is the new, playoff format. The Chiefs are the only 1 seed to win the Super Bowl in the current format and did it twice. 6 of the 10 1 seeds have reached the Super Bowl. 3 number 1 seeds have been eliminated in their first playoff game, aka the divisional round, since 2020. 2 number 1 seeds have lost in the conference title game. And since 1975, the number 1 seed has participated in over half of the Super Bowls. The number 1 seed has won 26 Super Bowls and 16 of those have been on the NFC side. So, what to make of this? Well, the Rams, it doesn't really matter what history says. The Rams are a lot better than most number one seeds we've seen. This is one of the best teams we've ever seen. Now, you might think I'm crazy, but there's actually a metric that proves that. And I've brought it up many times, but the simple rating system, according to Pro Football Reference, has the Rams as a top 10 all-time team since the merger. So that's only going to get better, too, if they continue to win, which I would imagine they're going to do this weekend. Carolina is going to be without Trayvon Merrick officially. His appeal was denied. You can't punch a guy in the groin and get away with it, not in the NFL. And really, you shouldn't be allowed to get away with it anyway. That's such a weak move. So he is suspended for the game. And in addition to that, their star cornerback, J.C. Horn, is also ruled out. In addition to that, so is Chandler Zavala, who is filling in at right guard. He's out. Cade Mays is out. So, Christian Roseboom's not going to play. There are a lot of injuries that this Panthers team is dealing with, and they weren't very good before the injuries. So it's not going to be easy for them, and I think this is one of those kind of easy wins for the Rams, and I'm expecting it to look very similarly to the Buccaneers game, to be honest with you. That said, looking around the league, I thought it was really telling. First off, hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Everyone was safe and healthy and all of that good stuff. But during Thanksgiving, unless you didn't watch football, we had a lot of football to watch. We had 4 games over the last 2 days. Now, the Packers and Lions game, I thought was very telling. Jared Goff is going to absolutely get destroyed against the Rams defense because under pressure, he folds like a lawn chair. Then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown go down with an injury. He might not be back in time for the Rams game, and if he is, he might not be 100% with that ankle sprain. You look at the Packers, and I thought this was one of the best games the Packers have played all year, but the second best game I saw the Packers play all year was against the Detroit Lions. So is it the Lions? They're just a good matchup. I don't know. The Packers don't normally score that much. Josh Jacobs once again did not get over 100 yards. Jordan Love threw 4 touchdowns, and yet I found him to be incredibly frustrating in this game, missing a lot of just open throws, 18 of 30. Dontavion Wicks, who could never catch anything, caught 2 touchdowns in this one, 6 catches, 94 yards. If he's catching the football, they got a shot. Christian Watson, he looked really good. Romeo Doubs caught a touchdown. But aside from that, they really missed Tucker Kraft. Then you look at the defense, and Micah Parsons blew the game up. And that's more so what I would expect anybody to do when Jared Goff is under center at quarterback. Jahmyr Gibbs couldn't get going against the run defense. That's interesting. Will he be able to get going against the Rams? Because if they can't run the ball against the Rams, they got no shot. None. Jameson Williams looked really good, though. So that's a big play receiver that you have to worry about. But my takeaway from this game was the Rams are better by a wide margin than both of those teams. The Lions are 7-5. They might not even make the playoffs. Then you look at the Chiefs and Cowboys. Okay. And this was the game where I was like, you know what? I picked the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns. They lost. Rashee Rice was outstanding. Kelsey caught a touchdown. Hollywood Brown caught an incredible touchdown. They kind of abandoned the run game. I don't know why. It was running very well. They didn't really use Isaiah Pacheco much. But you look at the Cowboys, and it's what I've been saying. Dak Prescott is legit. This offense is legit with Lamb and Pickens and Jake Ferguson. But the defense is starting to show up. And dare I say it, you're looking at the Cowboys. Is that one of the more dangerous teams in the NFC right now? I would say it is. Now, am I worried about the Cowboys? No. But based on what I saw on Thanksgiving is that the Rams should easily take care of business against the Packers or the Lions. They're just a better team overall. The Chiefs can't win on the road. They're 1-5 on the road. Not going to cut it. The Cowboys can't lose at home, but at the same time, they can't win on the road, and pretty much almost all their losses have happened on the road. We'll see where that goes. You're not going to be playing you're not going to be playing at home if you're the Cowboys in all likelihood. So that's something to keep in mind. And then you have the Bengals and Ravens, and the Ravens have taken some strides forward, but Lamar Jackson is really he's taken multiple strides backwards. And I just looked at those 6 teams that played on Thursday, and I didn't see a damn one that would be able to beat the Rams right now. And so it's just further proof that, the Rams are just by far the best team in the league. Friday night, Friday, I guess during the day, you got Black Friday football, Bears, Eagles. This was a game that the Bears absolutely dominated on the ground. Reminded me of the Rams-Cowboys game in the divisional round of the playoffs back in 2018. In that game, both Todd Gurley and CJ Anderson went for over 100 yards, and if whatever they wanted, they got. In this one, DeAndre Swift carried the ball 18 times for 125 and a touchdown, and Kyle Monangai ran 22 times for 130 and a touchdown. Caleb Williams made some mistakes in this one, but he got away with it because that defense is a problem. They did a really nice job shutting down the Eagles, and they did a nice job of forcing some turnovers. So, say what you will, but this this Bears team is really good, and they're winning on the road, and they haven't really played anybody yet. So obviously that strength of schedule is kind of a joke right now, below 400. But they're a good football team. Can they win that? The number 1 seed? I mean, they're going to have to earn it. Packers, Browns, 49ers, Lions. No days off there. You do get the Browns at Soldier Field, so that'll be probably a manageable game. But that defense can still create problems. Once again, Saquon Barkley has just really struggled this year. And right now, he is on pace to barely break 1,000 yards. He is not having a good year, 3.7 yards per carry average, not even 700 yards, only 4 touchdowns. Teams have really shut him down this year. And, obviously it felt like, that's a really good sign for the Rams, but maybe Barkley's just having a bad year too. But also both things can be true. The Rams have also been doing a nice job shutting down the run. The point being, all this football we watched, if you took away any of this as any of these teams are better than the Rams, I don't know what to tell you. I thought it was very clear and obvious that there is a wide margin between them and the rest of the league. And I think number 2 is Seattle right there. So, say what you will, but that's kind of how I see it. And I think the Rams are going to get that 1 seed. And you know what? I don't really care. Some people say, well, the 1 seed is dangerous, and there isn't a lot of good that have come. I disagree. I mean, when the number 1 seed since 1975 has participated in over half of the Super Bowls, that's a good sign. Also, the number 1 seed in the NFC typically wins the Super Bowl more often than the AFC, so that's a good sign. Also, there's no way in hell, unless something catastrophic happens in the game, there's no way in hell that the AFC is going to have a Super Bowl champion this year. That is not a good conference. It's just not. The league is really weak, I think. Or maybe they're not that weak and the Rams are just that much better than everybody else. But be that as it may, the AFC is weak. It really is. I mean, you saw it. The Cowboys really just dominated the Chiefs. That game, like the Chiefs were there because Mahomes made some really key plays, but I mean, the Cowboys, they got whatever they wanted against a really good Chiefs defense. I mean, they had, McKinney, who's one of the better corners in football, kind of just flailing his arms and getting beat. Yeah, the Cowboys are interesting because they don't have the toughest schedule in the world, but that's the Cowboys for you. I mean, they kind of have to win out if they want to win the division or steal the division. It's not going to be easy. They got to play the Lions at Ford Field, then they got the Vikings, then they got the Chargers, then they got the Commanders in Washington and the Giants. Giants are that team you play for pride at the end of the year. Are they going to, play the upset bid? Who knows? But that's not exactly really hard, but it's it's not like the easiest thing ever either. And you don't like to see 2 divisional matchups either on top of that. So Appreciate the super chats. Asai, thank you for being a member for 1 month. I appreciate that. Christopher, thank you for the 5. I really think it's no shocker. I mean, the Rams are disciplined. They've really proved to us they will be the 1 seed. I'm also 0-4 in picks too. Yeah, it's just, Christopher, it'd be like that, right? It's just that type of week. I don't know if that means I'm going to have a really good Sunday with the picks, but man, I am off to a horrendous start. Going 0-4. I didn't see the Bears winning this game. As bad as the Eagles, blew that game against the Cowboys, I didn't think that was the beginning of the end. And of course, it's still early. The Eagles could absolutely turn it around next week, but this is really good, really good news for the Rams because it gives them some breathing room now. The Eagles lose as long as the Rams take care of business this weekend. I mean, they're going to be, a game and a half up on the Eagles because the Eagles do have the tiebreaker. And we talked about that. We knew that coming into week 3. So that becomes very interesting. But yeah, I think it was a very surprising 4 games. I didn't expect the Ravens to get clobbered like that at home. I didn't expect the Cowboys to actually hold off Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and I did not expect the Packers to win that game. And they did, so it's the NFL, man. Just when you think you finally figured out all the pieces to the puzzle, it's week 13, not so fast. And so that's what I kind of learned there. Isai, thank you for the 5. Are we rooting against the Eagles the entire rest of the way? I don't really like them, so I'll probably do that. The way I see it with the Eagles right now, they got the Chargers. They're going to win that game. It's at SoFi. Chargers don't have their 2 best tackles. I just don't see them being that much of a threat. Then they have the Raiders. That's an easy win. Then they have the Commanders twice. Probably going to win those both. That Bills game, week 17, if they lose that game, they got no shot at the number 1 seed. And right now, there's a chance that they have no shot at the 1 seed, being that they're 8-4. They have to win out and have some help. So, yeah, I'm rooting against the Eagles every week. I do not like them personally, but that's just me. Zaylor Swift, thank you for the 2. Health is wealth right now. Protect 9 and 12. Yeah. Absolutely. You want everybody to stay healthy. Obviously, it's not that type of sport, but yeah, right now, as long as Stafford can stay healthy and, they have a decent amount of health, a decent bill of health, if you will, then I think they have a chance to do some incredible things. And honestly, I think they're going to do some incredible things and they are going to win the Super Bowl. I've been saying that, but it really all comes down to injury at that point and health. Isai, thank you for the 5. How do we think McVay splits the backfield carries? I think it's going to be the same like we've seen. Maybe Kyron has a little bit more carries than Blake. I think Kyron is so much better than Blake Corum, and it's not a knock on Blake Corum. It's just kind of like, why sign Kyron Williams to the money you're giving him if you're not going to turn him loose? I don't really understand it personally, but that's what it comes down to there. Yeah, so it's not going to be a super long live stream. I just wanted to touch base with you guys because obviously the holidays and everything. Yeah, going into this game, the Rams are heavy favorites. I think that this is probably going to be, I had 34-16. I think I'm going to stick with that. But that's kind of what you're going to see. Maybe some late game push down the field to get a touchdown or what have you. But I just think right now, Carolina's not trending upward and the Rams absolutely are. And really the hope is that for the rest of the league is that the Rams aren't for real. And I think they've shown you multiple reasons why they are for real. So, it would come to the point where if you didn't think the Rams were for real, then you're saying the Seahawks win was a fluke and they're not that good. You're saying the Buccaneers aren't a good football team. You're saying the 49ers aren't good. I just don't know if I would subscribe to that. So, yeah, and they also beat the Colts earlier in the season too. So, yeah. I see it in the comments section. I don't believe in trap games, y'all. I just don't think it's real. Because trap game, you're signaling basically when you say that, you are assuming that they're overlooking this team. The Rams aren't overlooking the Panthers to go play the Cardinals, I can assure you. The Panthers are a better team than the Cardinals. So there's no overlooking. The only way that you could make the argument they're overlooking is if they had the Seattle Seahawks coming up and they were playing the Panthers right now. And still, they're not going to overlook anybody because they are a week-to-week basis team. That is what they are. That's just how they are. That's how they operate. It's what makes them as good as they are. And I would not want it any other way. Yeah, so that's kind of, where we're at on that. It looks like everybody's going to be good to go. Byron Young's going to be good to go. Cam Kinchins is questionable. So is Poona Ford. We'll see. But Akella Witherspoon, he's going to be back. Tutu Atwell will be back. So this is a really good sign for the Rams, who down the stretch, they've played really well under Sean McVay. So, we shall see what happens, but they've played really well under Sean McVay in the final stretch of the season. And like I've said in the previous, in the past, if they get the 1 seed and they win it all, that would lead them to the best win streak in their franchise history. They could also pass the franchise history winning streak if they decide to, not decide, but if they don't get the number 1 seed, if they win the NFC Championship game, there you go. So huge opportunities to do some huge things, and it's big. It's absolutely big. We're going to see again a lot about this team. There's still plenty of time. I heard Tom Brady on the broadcast saying, Bill Belichick used to say, the football season doesn't start until after Thanksgiving. I kind of get the idea of that. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but sure feels like the season started and the Rams are just who a lot of us thought that they were. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We'll see how attendance is on the road against Carolina. Carolina's still fighting for something, so it's not like they're just going to lay down and take it. They still, they're 1 game back from the Bucs, and they still got to play the Bucs twice. So say what you will. There's still plenty of times, but yeah, I think if you're a Rams fan during this Thanksgiving week, there was a lot of good that happened, and you saw some serious weaknesses in these teams that the Rams can exploit. And if they can run the football the way the Bears did, if they ever face the Eagles again, it's going to be a long day, because the Bears ran for over 200, I think it was 280 yards total. It's insane. Absolutely insane. They had no answer for Monangai or DeAndre Swift. So they both found the end zone as well. But yeah, once again, just a reminder, I'm doing a giveaway, a jersey giveaway, after the live stream on Sunday. So definitely be sure to check in and see if you win around that time. But that's kind of all I got for you guys. Wasn't supposed to be a long stream. I just wanted to check in, say hi, give my thoughts on Josh Carty, and give my thoughts on the Eagles falling to the Bears, because this is huge. This essentially gives you the breathing room now where you can drop a game. I'm not saying I recommend it, but if you drop that Seattle game, for instance, and Seattle wins out and you win out, you get the number 1 seed because wins in common games. You would win that tiebreaker, and then you would have the number 1 seed because the only team that I believe can beat you is the Chicago Bears. And if you both finish 14-3, which the Bears, it's going to be highly unlikely the Bears finish 14-3. But the Bears have a 395 strength of schedule, so I know that comes into play. I'm looking for the tiebreaker stuff, because maybe there's more to it than that, but I want to see playoff seeding tiebreaker. We'll go over it right now before we wrap the show. Okay, so to break a tie within a division, 2 or more clubs in the same division finish with identical won-lost tied percentages. The following steps will be taken until a champion is determined. head to head, which of course, if Seattle beats the Rams, that will be a stalemate there. And then best one-loss tied percentage in games played within the division, that would go to, that would be a tie, I would imagine, unless Seattle and the Rams lose any games to the Cardinals. So then after that is common games. So it would be the third tiebreaker that would get the Rams the number one, well, would get the Rams the NFC West. So then you have the break a tie for, let's see, the playoffs. If it's just two clubs, it's head to head, if applicable. The Rams and Bears did not play. Then it's best one loss tied percentage in games played within the conference. So at that point, what would we be looking at here? Okay, so at that point, the Bears would have a better conference record than the Rams right now. Now, the Rams are about to play the Panthers, and they're about to play the Cardinals and Seattle and the Lions and the Cardinals again and the Falcons. So, they still have to play the NFC, plenty of the NFC there. They're 4-2. The Bears are 6-2. So that would be that. But let's just say they end up they tie there. If they tie in that, it would be wins in common games, a minimum of 4 games. So if it was a minimum of 4 games for the Bears and the Rams, looking at the common games here, the Rams and Bears share the Lions. Of course, the Lions, they play them twice, so that I think that makes it a little complicated there. The Rams and Bears both played the Saints, and the Rams and Bears both beat the Saints. The Rams beat the Ravens. The Bears lost to the Ravens. The Rams lost to the Eagles. The Bears beat the Eagles, so it would be 2-2. That Lions game is very interesting. And the 49ers, I don't actually think that could be, because there's 2 Lions matchups and 2 49ers. Yeah, I don't know if division counts. So if that's the case, then you would look at strength of victory in all games, and that's where the Rams would win pretty easily. The Rams' strength of victory would be at a 515, whereas the Chicago Bears would be at a 364. So there you go. But we shall see. A lot of different number crunching and all that good stuff. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. We only have 58 likes in here. So before you head on out of here, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't. Be sure to check out today's sponsor, Sleeper. Again, JKB is the code, and your free $20 entry is waiting for you. You don't even have to deposit, but that's going to do it. So hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys very soon. I would imagine we're probably going to get some news. My prediction is Josh Carty is signed back to the Rams practice squad. I just don't think there's enough time right before a game. I don't think there's enough time where a team is willing to claim him and place him on the 53. So I think Carty will be back, and he's going to sign to the practice squad. And at some point, I'm sure a team will probably pick him up. But for the time being, that's what I think is going to happen. If you enjoy this, again, be sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe, and let somebody know about it. Drop something in the comments section as well. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. You guys have a great night, and we'll talk soon. Later, folks.